Welcome back, party members and NPCs. This is Squall the FF8 here once again. This time, if you'd watched a little teaser at the end of my last video, of course I'm going to be reviewing Until Dawn. There's not a whole lot of interesting information about this game, but I'll give you what I got. So this game was originally supposed to be released on PS3. It was going to be a first-person game using the Move controllers. But that idea got scrapped, and it was kind of thought that this game was canceled until August of 2014 when it was reintroduced as a PlayStation 4 exclusive. From a third-person view, they did a whole lot of revamping of the story and tried to make it darker and scarier. And I think they did a great job with it. It's developed by Supermassive Games, which probably doesn't mean very much to many of you. Their list of games that they've made isn't a whole lot. They've done, probably their most notable stuff is downloadable content for Little Big Planet, which is a great game. It's a great game. Probably their only other big notable game would be Killzone HD. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's kind of about it. They do have sort of a standalone expansion to this game, Until Dawn: Rush of Blood. Mostly a VR demo for the PlayStation 4 Project Morpheus. But yeah, let's get on with the rest of it. I really enjoyed this game. If you guys have played anything by Quantic Dream, David Cage's projects, you kind of be familiar with a little bit. He didn't make this game, and it's not a Quantic Dream production, but it's in a similar vein as games such as Indigo Prophecies, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and even the new game coming out, Detroit: Become Human. And I'll be reviewing that game when it comes out. I've got some interesting information about that game that I've been following for quite a bit of time, but let's stick to this game. So it's a very cinematic style game. The characters move in a fairly realistic fashion. Unlike most games, you're not constantly running everywhere. You're actually mostly walking or quickly walking. And then the majority of the stuff is done by QuickTime events, as you can see here. They're running away, and there's QuickTime events. There's quick decisions as to which way you want to go, and more QuickTime events. So it's kind of determines the quicker pass you can probably do if you feel pretty confident in your QuickTime event skills. I feel like this allows the game to A, feel more cinematic, and B, just allows it more access to a wider variety of people who play games. So people who may not necessarily be great at games, or not great at moving the characters as such. This is a good game that they can still enjoy. I personally like horror games. I like them because I like to be in control of the characters, and I like this style of decision making. It allows me to, basically have control over a horror movie. Go, no, that's so stupid. Why would I do that? If I had it my way, I'd be able to do blah, 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 blah. And this kind of allows me the opportunity to do that, which is really nice for a change. So some of the other interesting elements, at the end of every episode you have, or every chapter, you have this guy who psychoanalyzes you. The way it comes across is you, the player, being psychoanalyzed for the way you're playing the game, and it's really off-putting, in a good way though. It just adds to the level of creepiness to it. And I've noticed as I play the game, a lot of the backgrounds change, kind of based on what's coming up or what happened. I was like, this is so disturbing. I didn't know how to feel about it. I didn't like being psychoanalyzed at the end of every chapter. I thought it was a nice touch, though. It's a very nice touch. Almost kind of a meta feel to it, which is really neat. At the end, throughout the game, you're collecting these different, clues or information, these totems, and the totems will give you different information, like things to come that you can maybe potentially avoid, but maybe. So, yeah, and so these clues you kind of gather on, you see the different serial killers or escaped events or even some events of the past and such, which are really neat. Kind of adds even more to the story, and even get more about Hannah and Beth and what their lives were like and maybe what potentially happened to them. So yeah, that's always nice. The game is pretty linear. There are some places where you can deviate from that. Hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, so there are places where you can deviate from the area, but not too far. And some of it's like, as you're making decision, you're like, well, is this going to lead me into a new area? And yeah, so I didn't get a chance to collect everything. I kind of missed some things here and there, but still got a good feel for it. Also with the characters, got you a second time. The characters all kind of have a chance to live or die, so you can complete the game with all 8 characters still alive, or I think you can even complete the characters with no people alive, which I haven't done that yet. And some of the other interesting elements is, being able, you can't switch between the characters at will, but I did like that they also kind of have stats based on how you play the game. So they're, different, like bravery, funny levels, confidence level, and even their relationships with other characters kind of go up and down as you play the game. Like this scene right here has a particular event that if you've built up your relationship with Jess enough, with Mike, that you kind of get a different scene. And if you don't do it right, she's kind of cold to you and doesn't want to get busy. So yeah, she after you kind of light the fire and sit down with her, she's like, man, I'm not really in the mood anymore, because there's a sequence of events that kind of lead up to it. And the other thing I like about this game is the butterfly effect system. It shows you what things that you've done that have effect later scenarios, and there's I can't remember how many different butterfly effects they are, but they span from like the beginning of the game to the end of the game, essentially. And every time there's an update, it tells you, oh, well, you did this. So because you did this, this led to this, and this led to this, which is why, see, there's your butterfly effect update. So, the scene that you saw there was because of things that I had done previously, which caused you to get that scene. And, even some of the things that you can't control, which happen in cutscenes, like the character does a certain thing, like, no, why did you do that? Oh, well, that's because you did blah, blah, blah way back over here. And I thought that was a really neat thing to have in the game. Yeah, and some people don't like games that are quick time event oriented. Like I said, I don't mind them at all, because it does make the game feel very cinematic. And I also feel like it leads to a high replayability. Even my wife really enjoyed playing this game. That's not to say that she's not a gamer, but she just doesn't play as many games as I do. But she really enjoyed playing through this, and sometimes she doesn't like playing through horror games specifically, but she does like watching horror movies. So yeah, which again goes back to my earlier argument about accessibility, that this game, the way it's designed, allows for a higher accessibility to a wider variety of players. Yeah, and it had a nice balance between jump scares and tension building, which was really nice. So there was stuff that was scary because it was jump scares, but that's not the bulk of the game. There was other things that was scary just because of the environment and how they created it, or the ambient noises, or the lack of ambient noises. So there's a lot of creativity in how specifically they scare you. There's this event here where she's going down to start up the water heater, and it's just like, well, there's these really weird noises, and what's going on, and then all of a sudden they're getting chased by this crazy serial killer, and that, I feel like that leads to tension building and jump scares. And even this scene, is a screenshot that I took of a guy just in the background, just standing there, not a jump scare, just a when you see it type scare. And the other thing that I thought was interesting, like, there are some events that it's better not to take any action. So even though you see like a prompt on the screen, sometimes it's better not to do anything. And I thought that was a really neat added element into the game, that you're always kind of programmed that you need to be doing something, and sometimes inaction is the best action that you can take to benefit yourself in the game. The game got quite a bit of criticism for its second act. I really enjoyed its second act. I can kind of see where they came from as far as where. Sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit. I can see where they're coming from a little bit, but again, if you go back and you replay it, you can see that the game really was leading up to the second act, and that's kind of where it did need to go, and I'm totally okay with how it ended up panning out. It was really interesting. I thought it was very enjoyable how it ended up in the end, and some people didn't like that and some people did. Overall, the reviews are really good. There's only a few actual companies that gave it a semi-poor review. I definitely like to replay this game, especially during the month of October. It's like watching one of my favorite horror movies all over again. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope to catch you next week. I've got a couple of special events or special videos I'm going to try and release, maybe alongside this. But hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next.